All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Frankly Speaking Live here on webcast1live.com. I'm Dave Kanyuk, sitting in for Frank Holtzhauser, who's off tonight. If you want to join in, we're going to cover a lot of topics tonight. Not sure where this is going to go, but we'll find out. If you want to join in on the conversation, give us a call. The phone number here is 244-0077. If you're inside the Des Moines area, if you're outside, give us a call with an area code 515-244-0077. With me tonight, I've got my own posse of experts here. Sitting over to my right, pro wrestling connoisseur, Des Moines actor, the man who will be accompanying me to Monday Night Raw this Monday night at Wells Fargo.
This place is going to hell in a handbasket.
Please welcome Jason Rainwater.
Thank you.
And over here to my left, he has been quoted in the book Conservatize Me by NPR's John Moe. Please welcome Mike Nixon.
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Des Moines' foremost expert on all things, Richard Nixon.
That's right.
All right.
Millhouse Nixon.
That's right.
Well, gentlemen, I'm a little bit tired and stressed and cranky tonight, more than normal. I was up till 2 in the morning last night. I stumbled upon this thing going around the internet. Apparently, there's something going on with Vladimir Putin.
Asperger's, isn't it?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, according to the U.S. intelligence services, it's Asperger's. But no, apparently Vladimir Putin has not been seen in public since March 5th, I believe. Rumors are swirling around that he is either dead or incapacitated or taken by aliens. I don't know which one it is, but dead or incapacitated or something is going on right now.
Well, isn't the official story that he's down with the flu? I mean, there's a huge flu epidemic going on in Moscow right now.
There is a flu epidemic going on, but there has not really been any confirmation or denial or anything like that.
He's never been healthier. He's never been healthier.
He looks great. He looks great. A little cold, but he's great. No, but the weird things about this are... Of course, the Kremlin is denying that anything's wrong. They have not denied that he's incapacitated as of this afternoon, which is very surprising. The real thing that got me kind of like, well, what's going on here, is that yesterday afternoon, apparently, Dmitry Medvedev, his Twitter account tweeted out that Vladimir Putin had died.
Is that so?
That is so. And then the tweet was removed after 20 minutes without any further explanation or anything like that. Now intelligence services are telling press in Moscow to be ready for a major announcement within the next few days, or they're saying basically don't leave Moscow within this weekend. This is from, let's see, benzinga.com. I don't know how reliable this source is.
CBS TV show Benzinga.
Yeah. Let's see here. A source in the Russian President Vladimir Putin's press service, heads of the most relevant media were asked to be ready for a possible press conference in the next few days. Alexei Mukhin, that's Mukhin, Director General of the Center for Political Information, confirmed the rumor, anticipating that, quote, something important, unquote, will happen. When prompted about Putin's health condition, he neither confirmed nor denied that Putin is currently incapacitated. So weird stuff going on. And then Twitter in Moscow is ablaze with photographs of a convoy of white trucks that are driving into the Kremlin right now, being driven by Russian soldiers. Let me see if I've got that photo here. It's probably hard to see on the thing, but anyway, so what do you guys make of it? What do you think could be going on here?
Well, let me give you maybe a threatening sort of possibility. You know,
I'll only expect threatening
from me, especially. There had been rumors that his gym trainer, this gymnast, or
his gymnast.
That's I think that he's been sort of dating on the sly. She's just had a baby,
right?
And there are some rumors that it could be his child, and they might be doing some damage control, because Putin's whole thing right now in Russia is that he's really trying to align himself and the political class, the ruling political class, with the Russian Orthodox Church. They've been trying to align that way to go sort of against the potential communists, but the far leftists, particularly, they've got that, anti-homosexuality rule, and they've got some other really strong censorship that's going on. So there's this emergence of this sort of church Russian Orthodox Church class, and so maybe it's possible that he might be sort of hiding away, maybe from that potential child out of wedlock thing. That's just a possibility.
No, that's probably actually the most plausible possibility of what is going on. Jason, what do you think might be going on there?
Well, I mean, if you look at it from, I guess, the simplest answer, I would agree with what Mike has said, especially with the formation with the Russian Orthodox Church in itself. I mean, it might be just a consolidation of power base. I mean, it could be just creating a story for this very fact. How do we know if he's still alive or not? We'll not know until something gets heard through the media, because that's the only way it's going to come out right now.
Right.
I don't know. This is one of those things where I can't say one way or the other. Could it be that he's ill and they just don't want to mention it? Could it be that he was assassinated? I don't know.
Yeah, anything is possible, right?
Well, what's that they said now that his opponent, political opponent, just was killed, assassinated outside the Kremlin there on the bridge there on that street. And I have read a few articles that are saying that this could have been a threat, actually, sort of a warning to Putin himself, even though he was not on the same side politically as that guy. It might have been a sort of wake up, maybe there's people pulling the strings even behind Putin. Of course, there are that might be saying, do you want this to happen to you? You are not untouchable.
Right. And a lot of, especially the press in the United States, have tried to imply that Putin is behind that rival's death. But this, you got to understand, though, that
with CIA Black Ops help.
Right. I tend to wonder maybe, though, if it is something that is CIA involved, and maybe it's they hit this guy not on behalf of Putin, but just as a way to smear Putin.
A false flag of sorts.
Right. Sort of, yeah. And you use that to because this rival who was assassinated, Putin's mega popular right now in Russia. He's got like 90% approval rating. Right. So this guy's like a fly going up against a battleship, basically.
Right.
So, but here's the thing: this guy gets off, that angers enough people. And then, you might be able to foment a color revolution. Sure.
Yeah, make those people sort of rise up, per se, against...
But this has happened before, where the CIA and the KGB have worked together. We go back to the 1984 election, when Ted Kennedy wanted interference from the Soviet government. So they brought KGB over to work with CIA operatives to swing the elections. This is nothing new.
Oh, wait, a sitting senator wouldn't go around the administration and do foreign policy, would he? I mean, that would be... traitorous. No, that's what they're saying now.
Absolutely not. I mean, let's not recall 1983 and Senator John Kerry down in South America at all.
I like that. Talk more about that. That's right.
Well, here's another rumor that's coming across the wire, saying all employees of the Russian embassy in London have left.
Oh my! Was that AP or is that?
It's from a Twitter account. Okay. This is on a message board. So this.
So if it's a massive recall of diplomatic corps, something's happened.
Exactly, something's happened. Either something horrible has happened, or he's in the bunkers. And how long do we have until the missiles start flying?
That's right. Well, I'll tell you. Speaking,
this might be our last weekend. So make sure you come out and see CXP this weekend at Stoner Theater over at the Civic Center.
Oh, is that this weekend? Really?
That is this weekend.
Is that tonight?
That is tonight.
What times?
That will be 7:30. Both tonight and tomorrow night.
It's funny, I'm mostly asking for myself rather than for PR purposes.
You should go because Vladimir Putin's a guest actor.
Oh, that's the big announcement.
Exactly. You blew it. Thank you.
By the way,
Mike Nixon.
The Telegraph out of London, the Telegraph newspaper is reporting Vladimir Putin's girlfriend has given birth, according to a Swiss tabloid. Now, they're quoting the Swiss tabloid with the Telegraph, so that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think that is the most logical explanation, but just with all the activity going on around the Kremlin right now, the tweet that went out from Medvedev's Twitter account, and there's no statement of, oh gosh, we got hacked or anything like that. And then, if this is true that they're recalling ambassadors from London, I don't know. That's I don't want to be a doom monger or anything like that. I'm sure everything's all right, but
God, who let us back on this program?
For doom mongering.
Anyway, so
it's the kind of the best of the mongering. Actually, you can be a fishmonger, a warmonger, but doom mongering.
Doom monger it's a pretty fun mongering.
Yes,
pays well.
I heard that.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit here. Maybe we'll get hit by a missile in a couple minutes. You never know.
Doom-monger.
It's Women's History Month. I just wanted to point out that they're passing out at my place of employment. They're passing out little profile cards on great women throughout history.
Are they only Democratic operatives they're passing those out?
Here's the card that I got. I got Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, great.
Wow, yeah.
I had to mute the guy I was on the phone with so I could laugh at the person who was passing this out.
Sure, that probably came from the
So
LGBTQA
insignificant women in
committee.
history.
She's Indian,
Oh, yeah, at least at 1/6,000th, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite type when they come up to me.
Feminism,
Yes.
the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. The theory of the political, economic, and social equality.
Well, golly, I
of
can
the
get if that's the
sexes.
definition,
No, it's
I
not.
can get behind that. By
No, it's
gosh,
not. Feminism is the theory that women are superior to men.
but it didn't say that. It said I just believe whatever was written on a piece of paper that's handed to me.
I see internet memes of her all the time, and I'm like, those are definitely the facts.
Listen, the debate is settled. The science is in.
The
We don't-
science is settled. Elizabeth Warren is Indian. She's Cherokee.
Now, have you seen, incidentally, Elizabeth Warren was seen as sort of a opponent maybe to Hillary coming up for the Democrat nomination. Did you see who the Republicans are now talking about on the female horizon?
No, who are they talking about? I saw it on Drudge. Who was it?
Carly Fiorina, I think is her name.
She was a former head of HP. Is that correct?
That's right, Hewlett Packard, and she
Not a viable candidate.
No, probably. It's interesting. Drudge posted a photo of Hillary's Hard Choices book next to Fiorino's Tough Choices book. Like, good lord.
Yeah, I saw that. That's kind of drawing at straws.
Yeah.
I
Battle
think.
of the Ghost Riders.
Right? Oh,
Right.
yes.
But no, as far as Elizabeth Warren being a legitimate candidate, I just don't see that. I mean, I talked with Frank about it on the show last week, and I mentioned, my views about the two-party political system in this country are quite apparent. But let's just say, all things being considered, let's say Jeb Bush is the nominee, God help us all, in a debate with Elizabeth Warren. You really think Elizabeth Warren's going to have a chance? I mean,
Hard to say.
Should I answer this question?
I'm not trying to be cruel or anything, but it's going to be like taking candy from a baby.
what has she done? She created the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau.
Okay.
She created a bureaucracy, and we're supposed to champion that. Like, oh, she created this grand thing that brought the banks under control. Didn't do anything.
Right.
But she's got great ideas. Remember, she wrote books, and she's got great ideas.
Right, and she talks a good game about trying to regulate the banks a little bit more and do something about the situation that occurred in 2008. But then when you press her again about, hey, maybe we should audit the biggest private bank in the world, the Federal Reserve, she says no.
It's not the banks that you should be regulating. It should be the institutions that you have regulating
That's
the
right.
banks.
Besides, the Federal Reserve is a government entity, right? They're federal. It's a Federal Reserve.
That's
Let me give
right.
it another name. It's the Bank of the United States.
Well, we're going to be coming up on our first break here in about 2 seconds. 2 minutes. Never mind then. I thought you flashed me 2 minutes like 1 minute ago.
This is really his second show.
I was excited.
Did you go to public school?
He was homeschooled.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, let's not recycle our jokes, guys. Let's be friends.
No, I want to be like
Maddie in the
Saturday
booth
Night
is,
Live, please.
That's right.
We've got the fantastic Maddie in the booth producing. She's putting us back in time, so that's awesome. So let's get in the 30 seconds that we now have left. The GOP signed a letter to the Iranian. Oh, you've got the letter printed out.
It's right here. Now, all the signatures are not there, but it's right here.
Right. So basically, we had Benjamin Netanyahu in town for his campaign speech last week to the Congress. The reaction for the GOP was to go and write a letter to the Iran Foreign Ministry Department and basically tell them, hey, you know what? If you broker any deal with Obama over nuclear production, it's going to be nullified after he leaves office. We're just going to nullify it. So why is there such a push by the GOP for war? I mean, they've been beating the war drums really since 2007, and thankfully that got stopped when the National Intelligence Estimate was leaked. And now here's the music. So we're going to be coming up on our first break. We're going to be getting back to that subject in just a couple minutes. Again, this is Frankly Speaking live on webcast1live.com. I'm Dave Kanyuk. We'll see you in just a couple moments.
Iran likes prayer, don't they?
Yes, Sharia.
3 times a day.
Max Real Estate Concept Studios. This is Webcast One Live.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places, especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart. And it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
The only way we come to know the Saviorship of Jesus Christ is by bowing and acknowledging that He is Lord and King over all the earth.
Jesus Christ died on a cross, paid the penalty for our sin, and by repenting of our sin and accepting Him by faith, what He did for us, we are forgiven.
Salvation is not a combination of faith and works. Salvation is by faith alone in God.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Boom, boom, bang, bang. Lie down, you're dead.
Oh, that might be appropriate music. Who knows what's going on in Russia right now. All right, thank you very much for joining us. This is Frankly Speaking live here on webcast1live.com. I'm Dave Kanyuk, joined by Jason Rainwater and Mike Nixon. So we're talking about the GOP letter to the Iranian Foreign Ministry saying that they can revoke any deal that is brokered between Iran and Barack Obama regarding Iran's nuclear energy development. So the question is this the right response for the GOP to be making right now in a country that is absolutely worn out on over a decade of war? Jason, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I mean, it's just picking allies in the long run. This is showing either being with Israel or being with Iran. The letter itself, I mean, I think it's insignificant in the long run. It's right. 47 senators saying, hey, this is how the Constitution is laid out, and this is how it's supposed to be followed. But, the president dictates foreign policy, and I use the word dictate, I feel like that, leads foreign policy, but it leads to the ratification through Congress. And that's the process it's supposed to be, and that was in place until the imperial presidency of FDR, and he began naming out foreign policy at will, and executive order was laid out in that way. And I think that's what it was really targeting. As far as this agreement that will be between the president and the Ayatollah is going to be between the president and the Ayatollah.
Sure.
And anyone to side and say, well, they shouldn't have sent this letter to Iran. It's going to push tensions within the diplomatic community. And it's like, well, that's already there. It is there. And war is going to happen in one way or another in the Middle East. It happens frequently, whether we're involved or we're not. Whether we're a byproduct or if we are some sort of sleeper cell inside there's going to be war in some way.
Do you think this is heavily influenced by AIPAC?
Yeah, I think it's heavily influenced by AIPAC.
They're all posturing, right?
Yeah.
Because the worst case scenario, or best case scenario, is they get some publicity on this. Worst case scenario is it goes completely unnoticed. Incidentally, you talk about AIPAC. I feel really sorry for Benjamin Netanyahu in a way, because he put all of his he tried to align himself with. Didn't he speak at AIPAC this year?
I believe so. I think he spoke at AIPAC right before he spoke to the Congress.
That's right.
Last week,
and he just tried to pin all his personal political hopes now on aligning himself with the conservative or the Republicans in Congress. And this weekend we're finding out that he and his is it the Likud party. Trailing in the polls, and he in his publicity, he of course has touted those pictures of him speaking to the Congress. But
so that could be a big thing this weekend as well. I mean, what's the fallout if Netanyahu is ousted from office?
Well, I mean, we're going to see a less conservative Israel and a little bit more less direction.
What are they going to be, kibbutzes? They're just going to be all communist kibbutzes?
Let's be fair. The Liberal Party in Israel is not the Liberal Party.
It's still right of our liberals here, sure.
It's far right of ours. I mean, they'll still answer any threat with a missile strike and not worried about where the target hits. I mean, you're not going to see that change.
Maybe they just won't be pounding the drums for war like Netanyahu has been since 1994.
There's a ticking time bomb.
Really, no, but really, he has been since 1994, basically saying, "Oh, Iran is about to cross the red line. Iran's going to get a bomb. Iran's going to get a bomb. Iran's going to get a bomb." And no, this has not come true. So, at what point does Netanyahu's credibility kind of fall off the wayside?
Well, you fearmonger, and I hate to sound like a lefty, but I mean, if he fearmongers enough, you know what I mean, maybe he can scare people into voting for him. But listen, I'm no fan of Iran, that's for sure.
Right, and I'm not saying that Iran is a cuddly regime, though.
Right, but they have major internal problems economically. Their currency, they have major problems with that. That's why they keep turning to Russia and China for a little assistance domestically. Would I trust them with a nuke? Heavens no, but they've had a long time to try to develop something. And
well, here's the thing about the nuke, and this is the same thing I told Brad Zahn when I ran into him in 2012 at Billy Joe's after he was done singing karaoke.
Oh, I remember that actually. I remember that.
No, I was talking about his support of Michelle Bachmann at the time. And he was saying that he liked her stance on Iran and everything. And I told him at the time that, you know what, Iran could have bought a nuclear weapon off of the black market and probably had done so, years and years ago. They can get in. They don't have to spend the time and the resources developing their own nuke. They can just go to North Korea and buy one. We let North Korea. Those guys are crazier than a. Give me something.
An outhouse rat. Crazier than an outhouse rat. I had to clean that up.
That's a little too crazy.
For radio.
But you had to clean up a rat in here?
We help create these regimes.
Sure.
It should be clear that we have meddled in many of government creation and in many of government toppling in the area.
Kermit Roosevelt.
Thank you.
Right. We had the Shah of Iran, and then there was the Iranian Revolution, which toppled our puppet dictator, and now we're trying to get that back into our sphere of influence. And we've seen Israel actually help support ISIS, which is our creation. One of the things that kind of ticked me off in Netanyahu's speech was the way that he was trying to tie Iran and ISIS together. He was preying again on the ignorance of Americans on Arab foreign policy. When Iran is a Shiite religion, it's the Arab minority, and ISIS is a overwhelmingly Sunni organization. Those two don't get along.
Right.
And
they're almost an apocalyptic cult division off of the Sunnis. I mean, they would go into Iraq, of course, and other Sunnis, they'll behead just for looking at them cross-eyed.
Right. And the Sunnis want to eliminate the Shiites. So, of course, Iran is like, well, we don't want these guys.
Right.
But anybody who's trying to fight ISIS, we're trying to topple.
That's right. Well, it's interesting that, and this comes out of our public education system. It comes from the media, but the powers that be are always trying to confuse the facts with us. Some people would find it hard to believe that there are actually very faithful Jews out there that are not what you would call a Zionist. They are not for that state of Israel where it is, and that there are Iranians that are very pro-American that have been in Iran their whole lives, but that's just their political party.
There's 20,000 Jews living in Iran now, and they were actually offered years ago by Israel, hey, get out of Iran, move back here, we'll pay your way and everything, we'll give you all the money you need for housing and everything like that. They said, no, we got a good life over here. We're not moving back.
That's right.
So Chuck Baldwin was also commenting on the Netanyahu speech this week, talking about how John Boehner and Nancy Pelosi colluded in order to provide cover for the DHS and amnesty funding issue.
No.
I know. Breitbart.com is reporting that House Speaker John Boehner and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi colluded on the speech for the purpose of providing distraction for the vote on congressional funding for the Department of Homeland Security without any exemptions for President Obama's executive amnesty order. It worked perfectly. Almost overnight, Boehner garnered enough Republican votes to help Democrats pass the funding bill. Now, with conservative Republicans riled at the speaker's sellout, Boehner is counting on Pelosi to help garner enough support from Democrats to fend off any potential coup by GOP House members. And you can bet that Pelosi will come through for him.
Those two collude in such amazing ways.
Oh,
I mean,
they're the same.
Where's the recall effort on John Boehner, though?
Oh, well, they don't dare try it because you see all those fat cats, even the most, genuine people we think we have in Congress. They don't want to risk anything. They're afraid they might not get, their bills talked about or their.
I mean, we were kind of hoping from like Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, that's from the Senate side, but they could have enough support where they could push people on the House side to get rid of Boehner. And there were people that were lining up for the speaker position that were eliminated from it because Boehner's shored up support on the Democratic side.
Very strong party whip there. You know what I mean? It's House of Cards, you know what I mean? Listen, these writers don't just magic these storylines out of their mind.
No.
They're based on fact. Even The Sopranos, we find out, was based on a real family in New Jersey called the DeCavalcante family.
You mean Eric Blair, who wrote under the pen name George Orwell, who was a political reporter, may have gotten his ideas from people in government? What?
Maybe. I mean, Carol Quigley wasn't around at the time, so he couldn't have got them from Tragedy and Hope, but yeah. I digress.
Yeah. How disappointed are we that Rand Paul was one of the signatories to that letter to the Iranian Foreign Ministry?
Well, it is disappointing, but I'll tell you, this is the same thing anybody's going to say when they champion one, politician or one celebrity or something. When they do something disappointing, the fan of that person always says, well, yeah, but they know what they're doing. They have to play politics a little bit.
Right.
But, that's just like, well, the dictator had to do a little politics right now. He had to take over, but he's really a good guy. He's going to give the government back power when everything calms down. See, I don't know that we can make those kinds of
anything to battle Caesar is what they're thinking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's right.
Right. Let's see. The Iranian Foreign Ministry responded saying it's truly, truly regrettable that bigotry gets to the point of making allegations against an entire nation, which has saved Jews 3 times in its history. Once during that time of a prime minister who was trying to kill the Jews and the king saved the Jews. Again, during the time of Cyrus the Great, where he saved the Jews from Babylon. And during the Second World War, where Iran saved the Jews. We're not about the annihilation of Jews.
Just Israel.
We just don't want them to have a place to live, but we're fine with them being alive.
I wish I spoke whatever. Well, I don't wish it, but I wish I knew someone that could reliably translate the things that come out of Iran, because I often think there's probably a huge translation problem when they say destroy Israel or we want to annihilate Israel.
There is. It was proven that the thing that the mainstream media liked to bang the drum on back during 2007's war. Try to bomb Iran campaign was, that Ahmadinejad, he said that they're going to wipe Israel off the map. No, that is not what he said. What he said was that corrupt regimes throughout history are taken off of the face of the map of history because their corruption crumbles that regime, and then they're blown off in the wind. But that was distorted in the mainstream media to try and paint a picture that Iran is an imminent threat. And then the National Intelligence Estimate came out. It was leaked, saying that Iran had stopped development on any nuclear weapon at least 5 years prior, and that they were 10 years away from even starting up any program again, and that they were no threat. So this completely derailed the mainstream media and George W. Bush's administration from trying to further that war agenda. And Bush writes about this in his memoirs, and he doesn't apologize for lying to the American people about Iran. All he says was, well, it's too bad that they actually released the thing, you know? It's too bad they
that is the worst George W. Bush impersonation I've ever heard.
But I think he was getting his Iraq countries mixed up or something like that. He was like, Iran, but I also sat.
I guess what would you say if you were a country in the Middle East that was constantly getting threatened? You had
you mean like Israel? You see, we have a ticking time bomb in Iran. That's my Netanyahu impersonation.
But no, you've got a country in the Middle East that's got an enemy who's basically been bombarding it with
sanctions.
Sanctions. We're going to bomb you. We're going to destroy you. We need to bomb and
destroy.
Also
have their own internal strife to go on top of that.
Right.
A lot of places like
they've had
Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, those places. I mean, they have insurgency already, and then they have an outside source sanctioning them economically and through other means. I mean, I don't know how you could live in a country knowing full well that each day something different is going to come down the pipeline and change things.
That's right.
Right. And I'm talking about Iran being constantly threatened by Israel and the United States. I mean, this has been...
Well, it just depends on what type of policy we have towards them at the time, because sometimes we are very helpful, and other times we want them wiped off the face of the earth.
Other times we're funding Iraq to go in and wage war for 8 years.
They are a convenient whipping boy, Iran is. Interesting that Iran is the way they are now because of... the United Kingdom with the British oil. I hear the sound. I hear the music.
It's coming up. Finish that thought.
Kermit Roosevelt. Google Kermit Roosevelt.
Google it. Take your cancer pill. All right. Well, you're watching Frankly Speaking live on webcast1live.com. We're coming up on break number 2. Be sure to join us. We'll be coming up on the latest thing that Lindsey Graham has said. It might shock you. Stay tuned.
He's coming out.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking Live here on webcast1live.com. I'm Dave Kanyuk, sitting in for Frank Holtzhauser this evening. We've got Jason Rainwater and Mike Nixon joining us. Again, if you want to join us, get on the telephone. The phone number here is 244-0077 inside Des Moines. If you're outside Des Moines, add 3 digits to that, 515-244-0077.
Incidentally, what was that music? It sounded like the theme song from the Poseidon Adventure.
I don't know. That's like we're coming back from the break. It's the slow jam. Everybody ease in now.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It made me want to eat some mac and cheese and read Kathy comics.
We're going to talk politics and
That's
everything
right.
of the day.
Ooh, and very NPR.
It's a Frank Holtzhauser slow jam. Into Frankly Speaking. He's got a great flow to the music of the show. I love it. I absolutely love it.
And then we're going to transition that into Lindsey Graham.
Oh, yes, he's coming out with some news.
There, by the way, so I'm just razzing him. I love the music's fun. Anyway.
Lindsey Graham is coming out with an announcement.
Yes,
news.
Great.
Let's play words now. All right. So, Lindsey Graham today, not today, but this week, while visiting the Concord City, New Hampshire Republican Committee at the Politics and Pies Forum, asserted that American ground troops would be necessary to defeat ISIS. In addition, he advocated for the reversal of defense spending cuts, and as President of the United States, Graham would restrict the movement of lawmakers until those cuts are reversed.
Any enemies, foreign or domestic?
In a chilling statement, Graham said he would not allow Congress to leave D.C. until his demands are met, declaring he would use the United States military to keep them there.
And I will burn down the Reichstag if I have to.
He said, and I quote, "And the first thing I would do if I were president of the United States," you thought my George W. Bush was bad?
This guy's not prissy enough.
And the first thing is, and here's the first thing I would do if I were president of the United States. I wouldn't let Congress leave town until we fix this. I would literally use the military to keep them in if I had to. New Hampshire GOP leaders were unable to speak on behalf of the candidate. And then when people tried to reach Lindsey Graham on that, his office responded saying, "Due to the large volume of mail I receive, I regret that I am only able to respond to the personal inquiries from South Carolinians."
Oh, bro. I will round up citizens and put them in camps if I have to.
How disgusting is that we have a prospective presidential candidate, a sitting U.S. senator for multiple terms, who is advocating keeping lawmakers in by military force if the demands of the executive chief are not met. Where
Does this
are we in
follow
this country?
anything that he's ever spoke to about the presidency? Cabinet members. He says the president should have anybody he wants. Well, that's not how it works. The Senate confirms it, and to have him do these comments here just shows you what a despot he really is.
Absolutely. This is the same guy who got up on the floor of the U.S. Senate before the National Defense Authorization Act was passed. This was back in 2011, I believe.
NDAA, look it up.
Exactly. He was arguing that Americans should be detained on U.S. soil, not get access to a lawyer. He said, "Lawyer? You don't get no stinking lawyer," with this evil log cabin Republican relish in his eye.
Log cabin. That could be.
But where are we in this country that this guy is not being recalled? If I were in South Carolina, which was my birth state, if I were in South Carolina, I would be screaming. I would be demanding this guy.
But Dave, it's done by the popular vote. If this was still within the state legislative session, guess who's going to get recalled? Because he's not representing South Carolina with that type of comment.
But you know what? Even with the state, even if we were back at state legislature rules, before it was changed over to popular vote, with the state of the GOP right now, would they even bother? We've got no opposition to Obama. Why are we going to clean our own house?
Listen, I've said it time and time again. As long as we have cable TV, the Kardashians, I can take my food stamps and get a bunch of food. Or if I don't have food stamps, I can go to McDonald's and get a bunch of crap food to push down my fat gullet. As long as I have that and our cell phones, I don't need to know what's going on in Washington. I trust them.
Right.
They're looking out for...
Right.
Just like I go to church and listen to the pastor. I believe everything that pastor says, even though he's working hand in hand with the government, you know?
I've been in the Senate for over, 25 years now. This is what a president does. Okay? And if you don't like it, well, I'm going to send the military to your house.
And a Stinger missile will come right through that front door.
Graham later clarified, saying that his statement where he said that, or a spokesperson for Graham clarified the statement where he said that he would, quote, literally use the military. He said that the statement was not to be taken literally.
I will use the Thor of Hammer. Yeah, not to be taken literally.
I do love that this spokesperson never spoke to the senator whatsoever.
Right. If a Tea Party activist, this is Paul Joseph Watson writing, if a Tea Party activist threatened to raise militia in order to storm Capitol Hill and force lawmakers to pass a bill, he would be called a terrorist.
But isn't that
and
what
arrested
we are?
And sent to prison.
We're the number one on the terrorist watch list. We are a right-wing group of advocates.
Hate. You're just filled with hate.
We're just filled with hate.
Extremists.
This is what we would do. This is what libertarianism is.
Right, exactly. And this guy has done more to set up a dictatorship. This guy has helped fund ISIS. Here is he and John McCain.
The worst.
Yeah, his boyfriend, John McCain. Here he is meeting in September of 2012, meeting with, and I'm going to butcher this name, that's Abdelhakim Belhaj.
I think he did all right with that.
Thank you.
Fine. That homeschool, he's working out really well.
Exactly.
Thanks, Mom.
So this was this is the guy who is now leading ISIS in Libya. Yeah. No. So this is the guy, Lindsey Graham and John McCain are helping set up ISIS in Libya, helping set up ISIS in Syria, so they can topple one of the last moderate regimes in the Middle East, which is Syria. And he's advocating dictatorial powers in the United States. Why is this guy not in Guantanamo Bay?
Well, because President Obama shut it down when he got into office in 2008. As I remember, that was one of his promises. But let me tell you, it's always been very successful for the powers that be in the United States, regardless of what political party. It's always been very beneficial to them to have those sort of chaos, that chaos that is in the Middle East and other foreign states, wherein the chaos can be ripe. It can be tapped, not riped. It's ripe for the taking.
I like riped. I like riped.
Riped. I'm gonna ripe you like a tomato, a green tomato.
Well, Lindsey Graham likes ripe because that means he's going to squeeze.
Oh my goodness!
Sassafras.
But what's it going to take for Republicans to wake up to what's going on within their own party? Because they're viewing the Tea Party people, who are really the most passionate people who are in the Republican Party.
Well, they are the Republican Party.
Exactly. But they're viewing the Tea Party people as the threat, and not people like Lindsey Graham, not people like John Boehner, who is doing nothing to fight Obama.
Yeah, listen, Dave, internal strife is fine, as long as it's not in this country. Okay? Internal strife anywhere else is fantastic. But when you actually have people that bring back the principles of what the Republican Party was, of course they're a threat. They threaten the dichotomy of the one-party system, the Demo-Republican, or whatever way you want to put it, the Republicrats.
Listen, we've just had to, as a Republican Party, we've just had to wake up and get with the times and give the people what they want.
Right. No fight on amnesty or anything like that.
Crucify him, crucify him. That's usually what the people want, isn't it?
Exactly.
Lindsey Graham's the heart of the Republican Party as it is right now. That's why we're not going to hear anything. I'm sorry. It's what it is.
But I think it's impossible to be. I think republicanism, as it's known now, has to be abandoned completely. In the same way that, and though completely different sides of the political spectrum, that the Labour Party of the UK, what they had to do when Tony Blair came to office, they called the Labour Party New Labour because they were no longer the far lefties that the Labour Party used to be.
Right.
They were sort of what we have in Republicans today. Is they have a big tent idea. However, it's pro business. Again, it's pro regulation. It's eradicating personal individual rights at the expense of making money for our fat cat cronies who run the businesses. And the Tea Party is a good start. But we have to sort of step away from the Republicans in general and create a new Republican Party. And we can't wear tri-cornered hats as much as I like them.
Why not?
Well,
I look good in a tri-corner hat. It's the only hat that I look good in.
Jess, we have to, the optics. Obama's so concerned about the optics, how things look.
But I'd almost be willing to drop the Tea Party name.
Yeah.
Because that was labeled just because it was considered a radical wing of the Republican Party.
It was labeled that way because it stood for taxed enough already. And that grew out of the, I believe it was the 2007 Federal Reserve protests that started in major cities like Chicago. I remember that at that time.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm really loving the gas tax.
It's working out.
But I guess to that point, why is the Tea Party sticking around within the Republican Party? Why doesn't the Tea Party just say, you know what? You don't want us around here. We're out of here. See ya.
Better the
Drop
devil
the
you know.
mic.
Right.
That's the argument right there. Better the devil that you know, because this is a system where if you are an outside third party, you are not going to be allowed in. You will be excluded, and the media will make sure that you're excluded, and the powers that be will make sure that you're excluded. And we are our first and foremost example that we trump all the time is Ron Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay? Yep. He was leading a force of a new generation of Republican members in the party, and he was just pushed off to the side, finishing high within the polls of a lot of the primaries.
Winning CPAC.
Winning CPAC. Was it ever reported on? Was it ever spoken by the mainstream Republican Party?
I went to the Republican straw poll up in Ames during the 2012 campaign. I went up there. Who was it that won? It was Bachmann that won, right?
Yes.
It was Bachmann.
It's always somebody that will never win nationally.
She won by like less than 200 votes. Ron Paul was in second place by a hair, and then I think it was Mittens Romney in third. The mainstream media, the lead story that says, shocking, Michelle Bachmann wins the straw poll in Iowa. Romney in third.
Right.
Hello.
Where's second? Right.
It's like the WWE. We've got Daniel Bryan, who the fans want to root for and want to cheer and want to be the champ, and Vince McMahon says, "Oh no, you're gonna get Roman Reigns because he's huge.
But
he's a face.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't like it."
Exactly. Ron Paul's the epitome of what they want to do to the Tea Party, Republican Party. I'm gonna take it back right now. Tea Party is Republican Party. Okay.
Right.
So. I'll give the current party a new name. I'll call it George. So the George Party, wants that pushed away because it goes against everything that it's basically corrupt. It's a corrupt system. We've lost the republic.
Absolutely. When you've got sitting lawmakers saying, yeah, we should use the military to depose us until the demands of the king are met, we have lost the republic.
And what's sad is that there are high-ranking officials within the military who would be more than happy to do so.
Well, we're coming up on our final break here. We got a couple more stories to get. What is the post office watching you? Interesting story that came out yesterday. We're going to hit that coming up next. You're watching Frankly Speaking on webcast1live.com.
I go to Hy-Vee for my stamps.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
All right, welcome back to Frankly Speaking Live on webcast1live.com.
Was that LA Law?
That is. I think so.
Or Roseanne. That sounded like the theme song to Roseanne.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I
It's
just was
a
like,
smooth jam to carry on with to finish out the show. Anyway, this is Frankly Speaking Live on webcast1live.com. I'm Dave Kanyuk, sitting in for Frank Holtzhauser. Joining us tonight is Jason Rainwater and Mike Nixon. So here's a fun story that broke just yesterday. The Postal Service was caught deploying face scanning cameras. This was in Colorado just this week. A face and license plate scanning camera was torn from the ground outside a Colorado post office this week, less than 1 hour after being discovered by local reporters. The camera, run by the United States Postal Inspection Service, the Postal Service's law enforcement unit, was hidden inside a utilities box near the exit of the Golden Post Office. According to Fox 31 Denver, investigative reporter Chris Halson.
You're great with names.
I am, right?
fantastic.
There's no vowel where there should be a vowel.
Must be Bosnian last name.
Fars Fagnorger.
Chris H. All right, it's Chris H.
H.
Not Hansen. All right. Anyway,
Let me get through this, guys.
According to this dude, the camera was mysteriously removed almost immediately after he began asking unit representatives why the device was capturing local residents. The U.S. Postal Service responded by denying that random surveillance was being conducted, despite the camera appearing to capture every driver that left the property. We do not engage in routine or random surveillance. Cameras are deployed for law enforcement or security purposes, which may include the security of our facilities, the safety of our customers and employees, or for criminal investigations, U.S. Postal Inspector Pamela Durkee said. Employees of the Postal Inspection Service are sworn to uphold the United States Constitution, including protecting the privacy of the American public. Employees of the post office who are allegedly unaware of the camera told Halsey that the surveillance device was not linked into their normal security system.
They really want to get rid of Saturday hours.
Investigating the matter further, Fox 31 was unable to locate any criminal search warrants on file in city, county, or federal court that related to the post office's surveillance. Fox 31 Denver filed multiple Freedom of Information Act requests with the Postal Service, Postal Inspection Service, and Office of the Inspector General in an attempt to identify the cost and scope of the Postal Inspection Service surveillance program, the article states. None of the agencies could provide a written data retention policy, which would detail how long USPIS could keep the images agents have been collecting from the Golden Post Office camera and other cameras around the Denver area. Hop-On Incorporated, a company known to sell surveillance systems to the U.S. Postal Service, also refused to disclose information on whether they provided cameras for Colorado's program. So,
well, not that completely different from what Hy-Vee does every time you walk in. These new Hy-Vees have those cameras. Why do you think when you walk into the Hy-Vee, you come in through the doors, there's a camera pointing on you as you walk in, and you get to see yourself? That's all facial recognition, too.
Sure. Well,
but it's just to count foot traffic.
Well, right. That's right.
Right?
I mean, you can see the monitor, up there when you walk into Hy-Vee, and, other people are watching that in real time. That's a loss prevention measure. I mean, that's something that retail.
Are you one of them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm loss prevention, baby. No, but that's a loss prevention technique that's been used by big box retailers for decades now.
Sure.
So that's not out of the norm. What is out of the norm is the fact that you've got this camera recording license plates and faces when you're leaving the post office.
Right. Well,
that's the creepy thing.
Well, of course, I wonder if it has anything to do with their maybe. Here's a possibly not a clandestine thought. Could they be trying to track people who might be shipping pot or something now that that's all legal in Colorado? Could that be?
Well, I mean, it's not legal really to record everybody's license plate and
right.
face and everything. If you're searching for a crime, you're supposed to have a warrant citing the specific person.
Listen, that's constitutional crap. We're not interested in that anymore.
I forgot.
We're talking pre-crime here.
That's right.
This is Minority Report.
Yes.
But the article goes on to state that a 2013 article in the New York Times detailed the Postal Service's mail isolation control and tracking program, which records the metadata of millions of pieces of mail. In the past, mail covers were used when you had a reason to suspect someone of a crime, said Mark D. Roche, a Justice Department employee. Now it seems to be, let's record everyone's mail so in the future we might go back and see who you were communicating with. Essentially, you've added mail covers on millions of Americans. Colorado's surveillance program highlights how nearly every activity of the American public is under constant surveillance, regardless of criminal activity. How can we be a free republic if we have everything being snooped on, if we're watched constantly? Only slaves are watched constantly like this.
Yeah, well, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. I mean,
darn it, I've had
exactly.
that. Okay, that was bumper music on another show, and I've had that song going through my head all day yesterday. And now it's going to be all night tonight.
But this misconception that metadata some way helps track criminal activity.
Right. It's not.
Where did this logic come from? There's no evidence that metadata works in any way.
Or that metadata is kind of an inconsequential, just like, oh, it's just figures. It's just random figures that aren't important. No, the metadata is very important. That's isolating you down to a specific location and a specific action.
Right. Well, that's what, the zip codes are about. Of course, it made things easier for mail carrying, but it was also to isolate people in given zones so you know where people are. Any piece of mail you get, unfortunately, there's a lot of junk mail, but any piece of mail you receive has all been scanned and recorded. The return address and the two, and all of the handwritten notes, cards, and things of that nature. That's all analyzed so that they can read handwriting. I once took a temp job at a place that processed a lot of mail. It was I'm trying to think of another name to say, but I won't say the name. But I had to submit handwriting samples that they kept on file so that they would be able to see if I ever tried to forge anything or if I tried to send any illegal shipments through the mail.
Sure.
So by gosh, when I was filling out those templates, I was using the grossest scrawl, because I wasn't going to.
Because you had a lot of documents to forge.
I had a lot of thievery to do.
There was a name you couldn't read. That was
right. Exactly.
That's right.
Well, you put a vowel in the wrong place. I'm done. I'm just not going to read the name.
It's true.
Well, his
name
is
Jones.
not in the right spot.
That's true. That's right. That's true. But that's what and also that metadata. That's why I think I've heard someone else call this, electronic dust. Sometimes this metadata, it's also used for when the government and corporations, totalitarian regimes, they come together when the government and the corporations are no differently, and they can use all your metadata to market things to you and to sell products to you to keep you fat and sassy and not questioning what's going on.
Sure. And our regular mail now is being recorded. Our trips to the post office are being recorded and cataloged. Hillary's emails aren't being recorded and cataloged,
right.
but
at least not 30,000 of them.
Right.
Well, much in the same way that now every device we have is a smart device. And is tracking
right. It's a little
anything that we look towards, anything that we stop and listen to. You can't tell me that when I'm watching a show on TV and I don't change the channel during a commercial and then I pull up my Facebook and wow, suddenly, lo and behold, is the same ad for something I knowingly saw an hour ago.
There have been instances where I have said something about massage, or there was one instance where I was talking with somebody about taking a gun certification course. And the very next day, you get coupons for massages.
Oh, sure.
You get coupons for gun training courses. Now, I hadn't looked up any of these things. It's just, it just magically pops in the inbox the next day. But I wasn't looking up anything. If I had been looking that up, I would understand getting a coupon for that in the mail because of a cookie that was placed when I visited the website. But I hadn't been looking at that. So how would that come in unless they're listening in? And these companies are admitting that they're listening in. Samsung admitted just last week that they are listening in. So
and they say, and it's not even so much Samsung, but they're it's their device, but they're sending it on to a marketer that's listening, or allegedly a marketer.
Well, here's my take on the Postal Service. What if you have a resistance scenario that's going on? People are now wise that the NSA is spying on everything, so they don't want to communicate by email. You've got a dictatorial regime that has taken over. So they go and communicate by regular post office. So now they've been recorded going to the post office if there's any suspects, so they can go and try and track them a little bit better. But we're coming up against the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen.
Aww.
Yep, that's it. So be sure to join us next week on Frankly Speaking Live here on webcast1live.com. I'm Dave Kanyuk, being joined by Jason Rainwater and Mike Davenport. Stay tuned. In 30 minutes, coming up is Wayne Carter.
Blew my
with
cover.
Faith That Works. They'll be continuing a series on Romans. You won't want to miss that. We'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone.
He blew my cover.